Hey, this is Hunter Allen, and I wanted to give you guys a quick little interesting insight that I found when analyzing one of my athletes' data using the Leomo Type R. And I've been looking at this data for a really long time, and over the last couple of years, and it's been a lot of fun. But continue to find interesting insights and learn more and more things about this. So one of the things that what has just happened in if you have a type R, you should make sure that you start using the torso angle sensor. So what you do is you take one of the leg sensors and reassign that one to be a torso angle sensor and put that on your sternum or chest. So that is very insightful in a lot of ways because the pelvic angle may not always change when you are changing your position on the bike. And it may actually be very similar no matter what position you're on. So you could be standing, the pelvic angle could be the same. You could be seated, you could become very arrow, all those things. But the pelvic angle stays relatively similar. However, that torso angle is what's going to change because that's definitely a much more movement-oriented location, so to speak. And what you might change is that upper body position, not necessarily your pelvis. So one of this, in this one, we have an athlete that's doing a couple different positional changes here, and so that's really to me what's very exciting here. So we'll look at each one and kind of show you a little bit more about those things. So if you look down here in this area in the bottom of the in this one is where we're really looking at. So if you look just here at the pelvic angle, okay, we have torso angle, then what we're looking at is we're seeing, okay, what's the average angle? So 70 degrees for the pelvic angle, 40 degrees for the torso angle. Okay, so 70 and 40. Now, if you'll notice here, then he in interval 2, and this was the goal here, is to reduce that pelvic angle and become more arrow in these testing. So in this one, he reduced it by 5 degrees, the pelvic angle, and that reduced it by nearly 11 degrees in the torso angle. So he really was able to get lower on the bike without really showing a tremendous change in the pelvic angle. 5 degrees, okay, for sure, that's a change, but it would be hard to really tell that without seeing this torso angle. Okay, so from 40 down to 29. The next one here we see is even more dramatic. Here we now have, so we're looking at interval 1 and 70 degrees, interval 2, 65 degrees. Now we have a 10-degree difference where he's become even more, lowered on his bicycle, 60 degrees. And now look at his torso angle, 16 degrees. So here we have a dramatic change all the way from 40 degrees down to 16. So we're talking nearly 21, 25 degrees of change here in his upper body and only 10 degrees of change in his pelvic angle. Now, of course, you can't get the torso angle change without the pelvic angle change. Well, you probably could, but it might not be healthy for you because you'd be bending your back too much. You really need to roll that pelvis forward, and that's what really helps you to get that torso angle low. So that's a really interesting thing to look at when you consider those intervals. Now, when he goes and stands upright, look at what happens here for standing upright. His pelvic angle, 57 degrees, is very similar to when he was very lowered and seated on his bike. And then if you'll notice, his torso angle goes back up to around 45 degrees. So that's even taller and standing up straighter than he was in interval 1 at 40 degrees. So Here he's standing upright, and we see that the angles change very dramatically. So that's just a quick little interesting insight that I thought you might be, be able to use in your own analysis in this torso angle and pelvic angle. Thanks a lot, and I hope everything is going well. Let me know if you have any questions about the Leomo Type R. I answer lots of questions on Facebook, Twitter, and also Instagram, peakscoachinggroup.com. Thanks a lot. I'm Hunter Allen.